Hello, everybody. We are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host, John. And today we talk about, this week we talk about some whodunits again. Going to back to our detective lineup since next month is A Haunting in Venice, which is the third installment in this. What do you call his name again? How do you?
Road trilogy?
Perot, Hercule Perot trilogy. A very kind of uneven trilogy so far. I don't know about the last one, but so far the first two are kind of like so. I don't know. I'm giving my thoughts so far, but like yeah,
I disagree. I kind of like this one.
I kind of like this one more than the first one. I would have to say. Yeah. And again, this has an all ensemble cast, including Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, Letitia Wright, Emma Mackey, Russell Brand, Annette Bening, Tom Bateman, and Rose Leslie, who is Louis, who is Ygritte in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yes. Come into my grotto kind of girl. Yeah.
See, yes, and this whodunit opens up in the trenches of World War One, and you're like, interesting.
Yeah. And since this movie came out like a few years back, we kind of watched it. Mine didn't have subtitles for, so I didn't know what they were saying when they were speaking French in the battlefield. So can you
I don't know.
translate?
Well, they were talking about this attack they had to whether gas them first or go with the gas to make sure the gas is blowing the right way while they're attacking. And Hercule Poirot suggests to let's just blend in with the gas so it's one distracting them and two we can do a sneak attack on the enemy. And you're like, I kind of want to see Kenneth Branagh do a war movie, even though he was in Dunkirk before this.
I was gonna say he was already in, but he wasn't really in the trenches.
Yeah. And he didn't direct it either, so I would like to see him do a World War II or World War One movie. Who knows? But yeah, you see why he gets his mustache, and you're like, oh, okay, that's fair. You see his first love, and you're like, I don't remember this, and him mentioning this in the first movie.
Oh, he did. He had like I guess a locket or a photo of Katarina, and like, he more of like mourns her, and he's like, oh, that's my love right there.
Yeah.
And he does that a lot, where he just like looks over, talks to the photo, and then just puts it away.
Yeah.
It's a thing where he fell in love once and he's never doing it again because he got his heart broken because she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot.
By the way that like his face kind of like, I was like, that mustache would have not done enough. Like, no, because like, think about it, like, so compared to what his face looks like without the mustache or with the mustache, it doesn't make sense.
Oh well, you know what? I'll suspend my disbelief for that one or whatever. And then we jump a few years later to Paris, where Hercule Poirot is enjoying dessert and he's watching a drama between Simon Doyle, played by Armie Hammer, and Jackie, played by Emma Mackey, and they're accompanied by or bothered by Lynette, played by Gal Gadot. And you sense something's gonna go on. Like Emma Mackey offers as Lynette for a job for her husband, and she says yes, but you feel like things are gonna end badly. And you're like, oh, wonder how this is gonna turn out.
Yeah, the entire time, Pro just like, shit. like that shit's intense though. Like,
Yeah.
A little too much when it comes to dancing. I thought we were all supposed to be prim and proper back in the 1920s.
Right? But you're like, you know what? I guess when you're that rich or that influential, no one can really stop you.
Yeah. Okay, so.
And you see Rosalie's mom, Salome. I forgot their last name, but Salome and Rosalie are the two musicians on the jazz club. And then we go back to, or not, we go to our main destination, which is Egypt, where you meet Book once again, played by, I think it's Jason Bateman. No, wrong Bateman.
I'm horrible with actors.
I said in the beginning, Tom Bateman. There we go.
Tom Bateman. Oh, the end of Murder at Orient Express was supposed to be Death of the Nile. When as soon as he comes in, they talked about like, oh, how was your kiss in Egypt? I was like, oh, I guess that wasn't the case then.
right? But you also meet Book's mom, played by Annette Bening, and you're like, oh, you feel like Book comes from a family of influence, and that makes sense, seeing how his mom's doing. Like, all right, and yeah, it's weird that they're like, oh, how's your case in Egypt? And you're like, I thought this was the case.
Yeah, right? I was like, wait a minute. I thought the telegram was for this murder.
Right? But yeah, you see all these families of influence, and you see the, I guess, combination of like Jackie and Simon's relationship, because like, oh, I guess they did get married, and poor Jackie is still stalking them, which makes sense after they were engaged. So you would figure that things didn't end up best for them. That makes sense.
No, they did a really good job at covering the real twist at the
Yeah,
end of this movie. We'll talk about when we get there, but like the whole time I'm like, she crazy. I was
yeah,
was it 6 weeks later? But a month? That's just a month, and then they're already married.
right,
Lynette and Simon. I was like, that's a bit odd.
right. That's a bit fast. But they go on this cruise, and they do ask Hercule Poirot to be like, can you please watch over us or watch out for Jackie, because she just keeps stalking us and just won't let us go. We're terrified for her safety, and you're like, you know what? It's kind of your fault, but at the same time, that yeah, sure,
Yeah, and I think this is when the red flags start to like pop up to people.
yeah,
I was like, oh, something's sus. Because Jackie kind of already pulls out like, oh, it's a 22, practically a toy. Girls go, alright, cool. I'm gonna let the nice couple know that, hey, best go home.
yeah.
Crazy lady got a gun, and I'm afraid she might use it. And they're like, shit.
But her honeymoon, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't,
And I was like, you don't like, I feel like it's just a drop in the ocean for your expenses when it comes to like the spending for this honeymoon.
yeah. And like, yeah, you're like, you can just celebrate in your mansion. You just enjoy your life there, not be in constant danger here. But no, they decide like we're still going to continue this tour, and during the boat tour, you do meet Rosie, who's played by Letitia Wright. You're like, oh, cool. It's nice to see you out here, not involved in something that is Marvel or having a break from comic book movies, because I want to see what else you can do. And you get to see that Book starts to fall in love with her, even though he tries to hide it from Perrault, and even Perrault's like, you're trying to hide things from me, out of all people, you silly man. He's like, I'm sorry.
I just love the character of Fred.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I just love the eccentric, kind of narcissistic, like as like what was the love interest of Boop again?
Rosalie?
Rosalie, like even she mentions like you say your name like every single time we start a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, I just like that character. This is why I like Daniel Craig's character in Knives Out as well.
Yeah.
So I just love that white-haired eccentric detective.
Though something strange does happen in the Temple of Abu Simbel, because a rock nearly kills not Jackie, but Lynette and Simon. But you're like, Jackie's not here, and she's not an assassin from the Assassin's Brotherhood. So what the hell's happening?
Exactly. So we're like,
Yeah.
hold on. So I mean, that was a good red herring. Like,
Yeah.
sure, we're kind of spoiling the movie, but yeah, somebody did attempt trying to kill him.
Yeah.
It wasn't an accident.
Yeah, and like you also find out that Book's mom doesn't approve of Rosalie, and you're like, I wonder why. The money thing? Is it the power thing? Is it the obvious thing? You're like, maybe it's that. But I also like Gal Gadot's performance here. Yeah, like when that moment when she's like, I don't want to hear. I'll buy the whole damn boat. I'll buy the whole damn country if I have to. Like, yeah, pretty good in this movie.
She played the really rich girl who tried her best to be humble
Yeah,
really well. Like you know, she's like, "Oh, I always look out for everybody. Please enjoy yourself. Get my bags."
yeah,
She's that type, right? Like she was like, "Oh, enjoy. Every worker needs to enjoy."
yeah.
By the way, get everyone's bags from the hotel. We're gonna be staying on this boat.
Like she goes to Rose Leslie. She's like, I hope you enjoy this trip. Can you get people's luggage, please? He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go on the boat yet. Uh,
Yeah, but you kind of feel for them because you're like they're not the worst characters in the movie. Like character wise, you're like I can stand you. You're not overbearing you like unsufferable, like unsufferably rich, like say Book's mom or like the other aunties. You're fine characters, and I'm kind of getting to the point that I hope nothing happens to you. But since you know this is going to be a murder mystery, you're like I wonder who it is between the both of you, and you get your answer. Like the red flags start popping up when the net tells Hercule Poirot like, "Oh, we're going to go home," and then she rubs it in Jackie's face like, "You'll never see us again."
Wait, is that a thing? Like, you can tell the person's dangerous, but you're like, I'm gonna go home and fuck my husband. Like, all right.
The person you were obsessed with for so long and are still obsessed now, are like, I don't think that's the smartest move. Even after Hercule Poirot is like, she's armed, and she is dangerous, or can be dangerous. And you're like, fuck it. She goes to bed, and then Simon decides to, I guess, get some closure, antagonize her.
I really don't think that was closure. But he
closure in his mind, antagonizing her in real life. Like, well, I guess when you're that rich, you get, I don't know, confused with what reality is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I think he was just like fed up.
Yeah. It's like, I never loved you.
You
don't mean that. Yeah, the real reason, which we'll get to in a bit. She does shoot him, and you're like, oh shit. Are there like 3 dangerous people in play? Because you still don't know who dropped the rock.
Yeah. Like, I will say, Kenneth Branagh kind of did, or the writers, especially Agatha Christie, probably did a really good job. Sorry, not probably. Really did a good job of like throwing red herrings, not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Until the end, I really didn't know. I really didn't know.
Same here.
I could tell that there were red flags. Something was off, but I'm like, I can't tell who to trust. Which one is it?
Right?
Right? Like, we'll have that discussion once we get there. Again, I feel like the highlight of this movie is just the twist.
Right? That's one thing I really remember. That's why I kind of like this over the last one, even though I would say these movies are just like, they're not like Knives Out level. They're just like in their own lane. Whether they're good or bad is up to the audience to decide. For me, they're fine, in my case.
The thing here is, though, like, the one thing I don't like about I think I mentioned this in Orient Express, where with the Poirot movies, you kind of just let the detective cook, you know?
Yeah.
Just let him be, and just let him investigate, and then he'll just explain everything to you. With Knives Out, I kind of like it a little bit more because that one kind of takes you on the ride as well. You don't watch the ride from afar. You're in it as well, so you're investigating.
You're investigating with the character. We're here. He's just like, I am done. You're like, I kind of want to see how you did it though. And his answer's like, trust me, bro. You're like, oh, okay.
I'm the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, but yeah, we get to the murder, which is Lynette. Someone placed a gun to her temple and pulled the trigger, and like, who could it be? Can't be Simon because the poor guy got shot, and why would he want to murder his own wife? Can't be Jackie because he was unconsolable the last time we saw her, and someone threw the gun away. Who could it be? But the obvious answer.
Also, we didn't hear a second gunshot besides, Jackie shooting him in the leg.
Yeah, and that's about it. But like, you find out that all these people have something, either to want something from Lynette or have something against Lynette. Like, the aunts, like one of them wants her fortune. One of them wants, if she dies, she benefits the most from her trust fund. I think the nurse, and then the other one is like, the nurse is the one who's like, I want that fortune because your father made us go broke at one point and we had to find business. It's not fair for us to suffer because of your father's actions. But what's her name? Louise, the maid or the caretaker, says something curious. It's like, if I had seen the killer, I would have said something or I would have done something. You're like, but you said you were outside and you said you didn't see the killer. What gives? And she's like, yes, I didn't see the killer. I'm sorry. Then Simon's like, oh, it's okay. We'll take care of you. You're like, odd.
Yeah, we'll take care of you. Squeezes the leg. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Didn't catch it either. These
Yeah.
actors are really good.
Right? It's not like, oh, we'll take care of you. It's like, we'll take care of you. Like, what the hell? When you rewatch it, you're like, what?
Yeah. When you rewatch it, I was like, ah,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. I think we're already kind of giving clues that you know who's might be in on it.
Yeah, but I do like the interrogation scene of Salome, of like, you find out that Lynette didn't want them to swim in the same swimming pool, and she had a big problem with that. And Perot's like questioning her. It's like, if I had a bullet for everyone who didn't want to swim in the same area as me, the world would be filled with dead rich girls. You're like, oh fuck. Yes, she's cold and
I
ruthless.
really like that.
Yeah, same here.
Character.
But this is not the only case Perot's working on, because you find out that Book's mom sent him to discover whether or not Rosalie's a good match for him. You're like, I don't know why in Perot's mind that wasn't the best choice. That's not a normal thing to ask for. And so he should have been like, no, I don't want to spy on my friend for you. Instead, he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do that since I'm the world's greatest detective. And Rosalie calls him out for it. She's like, you're full of shit.
Yeah. That part I didn't understand either, because I feel like Perot would have been the type to have like his morals set to be like, hey, that's my good friend. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do that to him. So a little bit weird subplot,
Yeah.
but it was nice where he kind of affirms like the mom, like she is a worthy pick. But then we see the character of the mom going like, yeah, it ticks all the boxes. No.
Right. Like, what's your problem? Oh, I forgot to mention Russell Brand was also Lynette's lover. And he's like a missionary, a doctor. Like going to places where they don't have modern medicine. But like, there's nothing really in his case that would suggest that he would murder Lynette.
No, but the thing is, he was madly in love with her, and he was a doctor that goes from one poor country to another, and Lynette was like, I don't want to have my wedding in mud.
Yeah.
And that kind of like, ish, and he's still in love with her, kind of thing. She's
Yeah.
just a horrible person, I was saying.
Yeah. Or maybe not horrible, just like too privileged for her own good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, as Rosalie calls Perot out, that's why you can see the body of poor Louis, who has her throat slashed, and you're like, oh shit, 2 murders. That's a gnarly murder too.
It was even murder. Like, sure, she got her throat slashed, but the thing is, when they dumped her body, it kind of got caught in the like big wheel thing that pedals the boat forward. So it was like horrible.
Right. They also find the gun in the river too, and like, oh, that's right. How did it get there? I guess one of them.
Also, the scarf of a lady.
Yeah. And you also hear that, oh, there's a point where you're like, that's strange, because the Book's mom was like, my red paint's missing, and you're like, why would a killer need red paint? Huh.
Yeah. So again, another red herring. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, what's the red paint all about? Why are they focusing on that thing?
Yeah. I thought we were just focusing on Book's mom because she is snooty, like, you're not good enough for my son for various reasons. You're like, I wonder what the other reasons are besides
Yeah.
privilege and other stuff. But they don't say it, but like, you get it. You're like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't say it, but you're like,
Yeah. Whatever.
yeah. They treat the audience well enough to be like, you guys get it. You're like, yes, we do. But speaking of Book,
it's the
like,
1920s.
he questions Book because he's like, oh, you gave away that you were desperate for money and you wanted to not have your mom's permission. So it's either killing Lynette would have, and stealing her necklace would have given you all the money you wanted. And if you did discover her body first, but she kind of implied he did, why didn't you tell anyone? Oh, it was because you just took the necklace to keep for yourself, and when you thought the jig was out, you just threw it into the river. Book's like, why are you questioning me? I thought we were friends. And you're like, yeah, why are you questioning him so ruthlessly? I guess it's your job, but Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, but it all starts to make sense because they found the necklace in like the mom's drawer.
Yeah.
Or well, the mom kind of ratted him out unintentionally. It's like, look what I found. You just see Book's face. It's like,
Ah, shit. Yeah. And he's like, if I confess, will I be punished? He's like, yeah, but Rosalie will never love me. He's like, it's okay, she'll wait. And that's when he decides to cooperate, but unfortunately, Simon gives a ghost, like, come on, and Book gets shot in the throat. You're like, Jesus Christ. The body count in this movie is pretty high.
yeah, oddly enough, I thought it was just like one murder.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, now you know that Perot's gonna take this personally because it is his friend. Just got murdered in front of his eyes. You're like, oh, poor Perot, poor guy.
Yeah. I do love Kenneth Branagh's acting.
Yeah,
Like, you could see the man is legit destroyed after seeing his friend die in front of him.
yeah. It's like, oh, what's he gonna do now? And like the other people are like, "Oh, are you gonna stop this murder before they kill all of us? You're like, yeah, that's a good question. They all start fighting amongst each other, and then you get the 16 of Perot just locking them in with the 45 of her Lynette's cousin in the same area. It's like the killer's not leaving until I find out who did this, and you already know he figured it out. But again, you're like, how? Tell me how.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, we don't get it. Well, or like, how did you get it? We could piece the pieces together. Like, yeah, that makes sense. It's just
Yeah.
that, how did you come to that conclusion? And I not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that.
It's like this is the second
you
time
like
when
to
you're
see
just
the
like, trust me, bro. You're like, what? But why?
I will say though, okay, we're at the scene. We're
Yeah.
at the scene where they don't pretty much reveal, hey, Jackie and Simon are still in love with each other.
Yeah.
And that was their whole plan, was to get them to marry him. They have this whole thing. I don't think this was smart.
No.
Like, you could have just hired any assassin and not make it feel like, hey, that's odd, Jackie and Simon together.
So
They've been a couple for a while.
the plan was to shoot.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Suddenly they come up with a plan to shoot him with a blank, and then whilst they're distracted, he just hauls ass to the other side of the boat and just shoots his wife, and then hauls back to shoot himself in the leg. Like, that thing's like a convoluted plan for everything and anything can go wrong.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, what an odd twist. I get it, so much effort from point A to point B.
Yeah.
A lot of extra steps. But I was like, I feel like with just a little bit of cash, with knowing how much you're gonna get out of this, you could have hired an assassin. Pretty sure y'all had those in the 1920s.
I mean, you could have tempted the cousin to just, can you please put your 45 on her head and just blow her brains out, please? And we can all benefit.
But still, but Perot would have tracked it down to being like, oh, you did it.
Oh yeah, because he has
You
the
got
only
access,
45.
and- yeah, and then like connected it to Simon. But if you hired like an assassin from outside without showing Jackie, I feel like they could have gone away with it. Not trying to show kids how to get away with murder. Saying this is too convoluted to be like, it makes sense, but it's just a little too many extra steps. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie didn't have to. That's all I gotta say.
And then they're surrounded by Perot and Rosalie's mom, and then they decide to Jackie decides to take their lives together. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Which was an intense scene, though. I do love that, where Perot just like, and then he explains, like, what happened to the handmaid, what happened to Lynette. But when he got to Book, it just stops him dead in his tracks. I'm like, man, there you go again, Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, doing a wonderful performance. And they all go their separate ways, and the nurse and her lover, they decide to live their life, even though it is illegal at the time. They're like, fuck it, what else do we have to lose? The doctor goes back to being a doctor, and places that don't have modern medicine, and Rosalie and Salome decide to, I guess, go back to being musicians, and Hercule Poirot decides to, maybe I should go after Salome since I have nothing else to do. Like, alright,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Future shot, you know?
Yeah.
6 months later.
Yeah, what can you do? It's not like no one's in a rush in
Just-
this universe.
That's her. Look, us boys, we just need time, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, speaking of time or numbers, what rating would you give Death in the Nile?
Uh, nah, I will say this is way better than the first one. It was way better than the first one, in my opinion. But again, it falls under that whole. How did he figure it out?
Yeah,
We would have loved to have figured it out with you, but you never really showed us.
yeah.
Which kind of takes us out. Like, we couldn't really relate to Perro. I guess is that supposed to be his character? Like, you're not supposed to relate to him.
I don't know. I really
I
don't.
really don't know either, right? Like, if that's the way he's written, fine. But I did read a little bit of Orient Express, and he does explain how he gets these clues. But in these movies, they don't. And I wish they would start doing that.
Yeah,
Hopefully, in the next one, they kind of learn their lesson. Sadly, this movie didn't really do so well in box office. But I do love it. I do love the Detective Hercule Poirot
yeah,
trilogy that's gonna, coming up. And I love Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot.
yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know, I fairly enjoyed this one. The twist was pretty big. I will say, if once you start thinking about it, it kind of ruins it. But just enjoy the movie, enjoy the setting. I just enjoy it for the vibe because I do love the 1920s kind of like, oh, we wear linen suits in the desert.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And we ride the train everywhere.
Right. I'll give this a 7.
Did I give it a score?
Oh, did you?
I don't think so. I give this one a 6 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
It did really good on the vibes. I love Kenneth Branagh and I love the cast.
Okay.
It's just the plot itself kind of needs some
Working.
fixing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just needs some.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. Like, I do enjoy it. Like, it's a lot better in some cases than the first one. Though again, it falls to the trap of like, let me just show you the finished product. It's like watching a chef just pull out the finished product when he's like halfway through the ingredients. You're like, oh, you didn't even show me how you do this. How do you do this? It's like watching Gordon Ramsay just pull out like a full turkey when he's not halfway done with the first one. You're like, I kind of wanted to see how you get to the finished product, but sure, I trust you, kind of.
Yeah.
Even
Right.
though all you say is
Again-
trust me, bro. You're like, I guess you say you're the best chef, and you say you're the
That's-
best detective. Sure.
Book pretty much just said that.
Yeah.
It's like, let him work. It's like it's just the equivalent of like, trust me, bro.
Sure. But yeah, 7, 6 out of 10. It's a good movie, and I hope the last movie puts a better end to these two. They show us, since it's a haunting movie too, that there has to be a lot more explanation of like, since you're implying that this is paranormal activity, how does he get to this conclusion? It can't just be trust me bro all over again. Otherwise, this is the trust me bro trilogy at this point.
we need to call it that now. The Trust Me Bro trilogy. If it continues.
Yeah, we'll find out in like a month if we get to catch a haunting event in time. But yeah, if you want to see more of us, please like our video, subscribe to our channel, ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. We also react to trailers there, and Spotify to hear us on the go. I am no longer on Twitter, but you can find me in those platforms editing our stuff. How about you? Can they find you individually?
Wow, you gone from Twitter now?
Yeah. I don't
Really?
support X anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you found me at JohnGeom _ on Instagram. It is my art account.
Yeah. And you can catch our next detective episode after this one. But for now, we'll see you there. Bye, everybody.